Hello everybody, welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter number 350 review. This chapter is titled, Bound to a Fiery Fate. Now last time we had some stuff where Deku was talking to the second user of One For All, and then we had some Dabi and Shoto stuff, where they were talking and Dabi gave us the hint the next chapter you would get some backstory stuff for him, and well, that we do. So this seems like it may be a little bit of a long one, so let's get started. So we start off in the police station where we see the gorilla cop guy talking to Garaki. Garaki is he was like the mad scientist for the League of Villains and the Paranormal Liberation Front. But first off, Garaki says, "I suppose the big day has begun then." And the gorilla cop guy's like, "Be quiet." And Garaki says, "You're allowed on guard today, so it's pretty obvious. All to prepare for today. That's why we sought out the twisted raw material born in this world. Warp seeds that could serve as his vessel." As we see the showdown of Dabi pretty much flying with the fire, we see that pretty much his entire throat is burned off now, and that the only part of his body that doesn't look burned off is like his forehead and his nose. And we see him facing off with Shoto. But then we cut to 11 years older at Sokoto Peak, where we see at this point there was no Dabi, it was just Toya. Toya's like, hot. It's so hot. No, I don't want to die. I still haven't shown him anything. And at this point, we cut back to Garaki talking, and Garaki is saying that one too was born with some cracks in him. No, maybe from the very start, it wasn't just cracks. Maybe that boy was born with everything. As we see that up on Sokoto Peak, we see presumably All For One running up to a burned Toya laying on the ground. And then we now cut into a hospital where Toya wakes up with pretty much scars all around his face, and we see he's like in a medical room with an IV drip and just a nice flowery bed behind him. And he's like, "Where am I? Am I alive?" And he gets up to walk out, and we see some girls sitting at a table, and they're like, "Oh, he's awake. Sleepyhead is awake." And Toya's like, "Where am I?" And he's like, "Oh wow, is that my voice?" And these girls there is like, "This is where we live." And one of the girl goes to get the doctor, and they say, "It's been 3 years, Sleepyhead. You were asleep for 3 whole years. At least that's what the doctor told me. Since I haven't been here all that long." And Toya's thinking, 3 years? How did that happen? What's going on? I was on Sokoto Peak and burned up, and I have to get home. And then we see a doctor dude with like a flower mask, with like a mustache on the flower mask. And I guess it's probably this dude's quirk, but it looks really weird. This dude looks really buff, and he's got like this, what seems to be like a flower mask on over it. And this dude says, "No, we can't have that now, Sonny." And Toya's like, "Why not?" And flower mask dude says, "From now on, you live here for everyone. Your very own place under the sun. They're your new family. You'll come to love it as the sun sure does rise." And Toya's like, "Huh? That can't be. I've got to get home. I bet Dad. I was just too busy with work to come see me, right? Probably." And he's like, "Yeah, he must be. Really worried. Those were some awful things I did and said. I should have apologized to Mom and everyone. And Dad still needs to see what I can do." And then we see on a computer monitor what seems to be All For One as he says, "Sadly, your hope is in vain. Restoring your burnt and broken body was a monumental task. Your missing pieces had to be replaced via regenerative tissue. You're a changed man with that burnt, rictus look on your face, and yet you survived." And Toya's like, "I'm changed? I don't get what you're saying." And the voice on the other side of the computer says, "You will never exhibit the power you once did. Every organ was damaged. Your senses, your ability to feel pain, all dulled. Your body is a little deliberated, and you'll never be the same again. But alas, despite our full efforts, we wanted to welcome you in your full strength. We failed. You must be suffering, you poor thing. But I might be able to restore your flames to their full glory. Well, what do you say? Will you join our family and allow me to raise you? And Toya's like, shut up. No way I'm getting trained by anyone else. As we see back in the present, Garaki is saying he'd already been molded by his upbringing from the day that laid him astray. He was already festering away inside. Even a man who'd known absolute control far and wide couldn't exploit the boy's obsession with his father. Those kids were our spares in case anything else happened to Tomer Shigaraki. A seated frosting hatred. Ones of vessels for the Demon King. Dabi, as one of those spares, was a failed experiment. And as Garaki said all of this, we see panels in the background where this hospital daycare place is up ablaze in a blue flame, and we see a pair of feet running out from it. Which, I'm guessing that means Toya killed all of the kids in that hospital and then just tried to run away. But to continue the chapter, the Gorilla Cop guy is like, how despicable. No, never mind whatever you're even trying to say. More crap about All for One had everything planned out from the start. And Garaki says, I'm saying they'd better watch out. Because that one boy never did buy what we were selling. Nah, we gave up on Dabi and let him run loose. Because after his body came back to life and he was up and about, he wasn't supposed to live for more than a month. What a surprise when a brooker brought him in back to our doorstep. Why had he come back? How was he still alive? And we didn't see, at that point, Dabi, whenever they came to interview him and there was the high and no moon and everything, Dabi was like, Ujiko, you're the one who kept me alive, right? And we see Garaki going, I had no idea what Dabi was really thinking. So I arranged a moment when the two of us would be alone. And Garaki says, why, I'm tickled pink that you realized. Now tell me, what's been keeping you kicking? And Dabi says, seeing this walking corpse here gives me a decent idea of what you people are planning to do with me. And now I'm back because it seemed like the perfect place for my funeral. And Garaki thinks that one glimpse told me everything. He'd kept his dying body tethered to this world to a pure and blazing grudge. As we now cut back to the fight, as Dabi is saying, Shoto, I did come home actually. Even though I was weaker than ever and there's no way to know what I was hoping to see. I just still wanted to be seen. But then, I wasn't sure if anything had changed. It was all I wanted to see. Instead, I was shown once more the reason I was born. The fact is as a failed creation, my life had been pointless. This family had left me behind in their past. When you surpass your limits, it's like everything you've built up is flipped around, done upside down. I housed on honing my instincts, so I won't be so weak when we met next time. This body of mine kept peeling away and falling to pieces, but I never did feel a thing. You want battle moves? I've seen them all over and over. Every time that thing saved the city, every time that thing got a boost in popularity, my heart kept pounding away. Ever since the day that Toya died and Dabi was born. And while he's been just yelling all of this, we see a lot of interesting things. Not only do we see whenever he goes like, I came home actually, we see the grave that Endeavor made for Toya in their house, a shrine to him. And he also sees Endeavor fighting with Shoto, trying to train him in that same crazed state that we've seen a bunch. And Toya's just like, this family had left me behind. And then we see Dabi's body just turning to charcoal, melting away. And during all of that, I didn't say it just because it'll take the moment out of the whole speech, but Hoinma says, Shoto, listen, I think, and Todoroki's like, yeah, he's been prepared to die from the start. And it's just a really interesting thing. But we now get some more Dabi dialogue that's saying heat is energy born of living things. As they move and thrive, all for one who seeks to live forever had no use for that mad heat rushing headlong towards death. The demon lord himself had to abandon that frenzied flame of death. As we see that as Garaki was sort of telling this to the Gorilla Cop guy, we see that Dabi is literally setting everything on him ablaze. His entire body is now covered in these flames, and he's turning to charcoal, as he was even melting the All Might Stone statue from before. And Dabi yells out, once I've burned away that thing that holds near and dear, that'll be the mark I left on this world. As Shoto says, like I said, big brother, not on my watch, as they proclaim Flash Fire Fist. And that is it for this chapter of My Hero Academia, number 350. It's funny that almost every milestone chapter of My Hero Academia, from the ones that I really remember, 300 and 350, have all been about the Todoroki family and stuff with Dabi and everything. But yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter as a whole. I really like Dabi's whole storyline, and I really find it interesting with starting it off with Garaki speaking, and then learning that sad backstory of Toya where he's like, I want to get home to my family. I want to tell him I'm sorry. I need to show my father what I can do. But I can't. My father is a monster. I need to kill him to protect my family. But I don't even care about that family anymore. And his only reason he's still alive is because he's so pissed at his dad. It's an interesting thing in that, yeah, like his flames are so hot, he's melting the statue, and at the end of this battle, he's probably going to die. I really like it, but that's really all I've got to say for the chapter. I'm really excited for next chapter, and I hope that this whole battle with Dabi has a satisfying conclusion, because I really think if we get that, that would be what would make this character great. That's all I've got to say, so thank you for watching, and this is Glowplasma231 out.